Hi there, here we are once again. We have another lesson plan. Today we are going to be talking about pronunciation, okay? And specifically we're going to touch on the topic of reduced forms, okay? And maybe a little bit we'll talk about linking words as well. So we briefly touched on this before, but for today's class, fortunately, we are in a computer lab here in Spain. I'll give my audience a quick look at the classroom. Lovely. It's after school hours now, so we're not, there's no real students with me right now. But I'm going to do the lesson plan all the same. And we're going to be working on reduced forms, okay? So what I want to do is we will need computers and we will need headphones because we're going to be watching several videos, okay? And we're also going to be using an important technological tool which will let us see a variety of natural forms and this is really important with the reduced forms, right? Because reduced forms are how people naturally speak. All speakers of languages tend to reduce the language to its simplest form. It just makes sense for effort, to minimize effort. So today we're going to think about when we commonly use these reduced forms, and we're just going to look at a few examples, okay? Also keep in mind, my students should have followed our flipped classroom approach, which I've put in the lesson plan, which means that at some point before this class, in their free time, on any kind of mobile device, computer, laptop, tablet, anything they have, even the phone, they can go to the YouTube channel I've created, and they can also go to the linked videos I've put in their lesson. So, without further ado, now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a few very common reduced forms. Okay, so very common in American speech. What is up? This is just an informal way of saying how are you? What is happening? What is going on? What does this commonly get reduced to? Well, of course we know non-content words tend to get dropped or reduced to the maximum. So this can become a what's up? It's almost just blended right together, or even in some circles as just a sup. Very reduced. Okay. Okay, and now let's look at one more category of these reductions. So that was a word plus is plus that was a what plus is plus a word. Another would be like what is her. We don't know the rest. This would be like this would get reduced to a what's her name. What is her name, for example? Would just be a what's her. That almost becomes like a Z. It's what I wrote it in here, if you can see it. What's her name? What's her name? Name is a content word. It has to be a little more clear, right? English is a content-based language. We're talking about the rhythm. Okay, so that's a what plus is combinations plus word. Now let's look at a word plus two. Okay, we're going to call this column a word plus two column. Okay, and there's plenty of these examples. I'm going to write a few, and then I want you to try to guess what the combination could be reduced down to in the last one. Okay. So, very common, going to, and class, probably some of you have been able to identify some of these reduced forms already, just hearing hearing English in its natural form. Does anyone know this one? Well, it is a gonna. Going to becomes a gonna. Okay? The phonology just reduces to this shape, this form. How about got to? You probably can guess. Yes, that's going to be a gotta. Okay, and let's look at one more. How about this one, class? If I say want to, it's almost like I'm putting emphasis on it, right? So, and it's just a naturally free-flowing way, common speech, everyday speech, things we say all the time. It's not going to be a received pronunciation, Queen's English. It's a wanna, and even there, when I said it's a, right? We find that a is reducing to a instead of an a. So, want to is gonna be wanna. Now, there we have our description. Now, guys, I've sent you a list of about, let's see, it might be about 20 common forms, including did you plus word, don't you plus word, common reduction structure. But what I want us to do now is we're going to do a role play. So first, I want you to go ahead and look at the list of the common reduced forms in American pronunciation. And what I want us to do is think about, in groups of 4, I want us to take about 5-10 minutes to think of situations that are very common for everyday speech, ones we do dozens of times a day, situations you can't avoid, which are common. We're not talking about complex scenarios. We're talking about going to the grocery store maybe, going to the bank, who knows, going to a store. We all have to eat every day. Where do we eat? Restaurants, right? Okay, or maybe just in the kitchen, a conversation. But I want us to take 10, maybe even 15 minutes to just briefly write down a type of role play, okay? And I want you to try to include as many different reduced forms as possible. If anything is not clear, please let me know. Thank you very much.